I think at the moment, in the last couple of days, it's very difficult to fathom this senseless act, but every aspect of their lives will be unpacked.
Searching for answers in the most tangled of webs. At the centre, a so-called murderous trio behind the police ambush, who the Australian reports may have been involved in a bizarre love triangle. School principal Nathaniel Train reportedly married to Stacey Train before she ended up with his brother Gareth. There are also reports the brothers had been using ice and bragging about their off-the-grid, heavily fortified house, fitted out, locals say, with barred doors and windows, barbed wire and even tunnels.
These conspiracy theorists, we all know how dangerous they are. I think something should be done about the stuff that's on the internet.
Gareth's online posts offering a disturbing peek into the killer's mind.
I live in this world, but I am not of this world. Wake up from the global trance you are in. See past the game show. We are now being poisoned and chemically manipulated on a massive scale.
The 47-year-old convinced the government was running re-education camps, that vaccines were a conspiracy, drones were surveying his house, and that spam phone calls are actually covert monitoring.
I think our intelligence agencies do an outstanding job in making sure they identify these threats. This is an outlier, and I don't think any amount of scrutiny would have found what's happened.
Joe, we know Gareth Train had some pretty wild conspiracy theories. Is that unusual in the area, do you think?
Well, I can say that when you walk down the main street of Tara, one of the first things that you will see is a big black sign on which slogans are painted, hand-painted in white, and they talk about Australia descending into a dictatorship and the need to stand up for freedom. And the sign has flags fluttering above it talking about a people's revolution. So certainly there is a loud anti-vax presence, a minority presence, but a visible and a loud one. In terms of the more outrageous, wilder conspiracy theories that we know that Gareth subscribed to, it's hard to gauge how widely those are held. You know, Gareth, he was a survivalist, he was a doomsday prepper, he was preparing to live out the apocalypse in his property, and it's unsurprising that the people in town, the first they'd seen of him, for many people, was when he was splashed across the news. So people who hold these kind of ideas, they keep themselves in the blocks, and you don't really know what a lot of these people are up to.
Now removed from the remote property, which was reportedly fortified with foxholes, surveillance cameras, barricades, guns, and off the grid with solar energy. Nathaniel, Gareth and Stacey Train called themselves sovereign citizens, paranoid and obsessed with extreme conspiracy theories, including anti-vax beliefs, and cut off from their own family.
Oh, that's for sure, Melissa. After talking to locals here today, it seems the Trains were a fairly reclusive bunch. As we just heard in Tim's story earlier, we do know about the stories about the love triangle and Nathaniel's conspiracy theory views, but very little is known about his brother Gareth and his wife Stacey. We do know, however, that Stacey was a teacher at the local primary school here in town until she was forced to resign last year when the vaccine mandate came into effect.
Were executed before they reached the front door by two men and a woman who called themselves sovereign citizens. Outliers who resent the law and law enforcement.
Now, it's been revealed he was deeply entangled in conspiracy theory networks, often posting online about his distrust of the police force, but also sharing unfounded claims that the Port Arthur massacre here in Australia was a, quote, false flag operation. Of course, that tragedy in 1996 would see the deaths of 35 Australians and trigger widespread changes to gun legislation here. So a bit of an insight into one of the men who was involved in that initial shootout.